That was Seven Rings by Ariana Grande. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au, and it's back for another week, Jason Sports Rundown, here on Phoenix Radio. A reminder of the show of how it works. Myself, Jason, I'll be talking to you guys from 1 to 3 to keep you up to date, informed, and involved in all that's happening around the sporting world, plus keeping you up to date with the news, with the music, and with the weather, making sure that you're informed across everything that you could possibly need to know. Starting off, a few overnight sporting news stories to keep you up to date with. The Charlie Curnow trade went through last night. So Charlie Curnow is heading from Carlton to Sydney, one of those very late in the trade deadline trades. Unfortunately, Archie from Brisbane to Adelaide still didn't get done, and they'll have to explore other options as Archie will not be playing for Brisbane in 2026. And also, very big news this morning, Ariarne Titmus announcing her shock retirement from competitive swimming at just age 25. What a career she had at still such a young age. So you can only wish that she's going to go on to bigger and better things with whatever she aspires to do. A few of the big topics on the show today. We're going to be talking about Bathurst, the weekend just passed. What an unbelievable weekend it was. We're going to be looking and catching up with the Brisbane Roar, the season preview. We'll have a lot of excitement around that. We'll be talking about the NFL once again, and we'll also be talking F1 later in the show. How will Oscar Piastri fare at the USA GP in Texas this weekend? Coming up soon, though, is going to be your news and weather updates, so stick around for that. But right now, you've got Yard Act with We Make Hits. That was We Make Hits. Untouched by the Veronicas. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au, and we're going to be getting into your news and weather update for you just now. So for the weather in Springfield, it is partly cloudy, winds east to northerly 15 to 20 kilometers, becoming light in the evening. It's a high of 23 degrees and a low of 14 with no chance of rain in Springfield. Weather in Ipswich is the same as in Springfield with highs, though, of up to 28, lows as well with 14. There's also a small chance of rain for Ipswich as well. And over in Toowoomba for those up there, winds are looking very similar, partly cloudy as well, weather for Toowoomba. Chance of thunderstorms, though, in the afternoon and into the evening. High of 25, low of 15. So if there is any thunderstorms, make sure you're keeping yourself safe. And into some news stories for you today. Brisbane's Botanical Gardens locked down after a man with a knife was spotted. A man who was allegedly armed with a large knife has been taken into custody after an hours-long standoff forced the evacuation and lockdown of Brisbane's Botanical Gardens. The suspect was spotted sitting shirtless and shoeless on a park bench. Images from 9 News showed officers trying to negotiate with the man. The incident ended after 3 hours after police reportedly tased the man. 3 Australian Defence Force soldiers injured in a horror crash near Townsville. All 3 of them have been hospitalised after a single vehicle crash west of Townsville. Emergency services, including a rescue helicopter, were called to Harvey Range Road, about 60 kilometres west of Toowoomba, shortly after 6:40 p.m. last night. One man in his 30s was flown to Townsville University Hospital in a stable condition. Another man in his 20s suffered back injuries, also driven to Townsville University Hospital. A third patient was transported to hospital with life-threatening injuries. And Robert Irwin dedicates dance to his beloved mother Terry on Dancing with the Stars. Robert Irwin has won a legion of new fans on the US Dancing with the Stars, and Wildlife Warrior 21 melting hearts yet again on Wednesday when he shared a loving tribute to his mother Terry ahead of his next star-studded routine on the dancing show. Irwin said he would be dancing for Terry during the show's dedication night and told Entertainment Tonight, if there was one person in my life who has truly shaped who I am, it's my mum. So it's great to see Robert Irwin on the big stage. He's been around a little bit, so no doubt we've seen him quite a bit lately. Coming up soon, we're going to be talking about the NFL Week Number 7 preview of all the games, so stick around for that. But right now, you've got Major Lazer, DJ Snake, and Mo with Lean On. That was Cold Heart by Elton John and Dua Lipa. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 1:20 p.m. The NFL season is still continuing and is constantly underway, with the games only continuing to get better as the season gets on and we get into a more and more exciting time of the year. And it's a lot of exciting matchups in Week 7, so let's take a look and preview each and every one of these games, as no doubt it's going to be a very exciting one. Starting off on Friday at 10:15 a.m., the first primetime slot of the week is the Bengals and the Steelers, a division matchup at Paycor Stadium. It's going to be a very exciting one. The Bengals have been under the pump recently, but with Joe Flacco, he looked impressive in his first debut with them since the trade. Can he step up? The Steelers are definitely not going to be an easy team to knock over. Another game over in the international field, this time at Wembley Stadium, Sunday, 11:30 p.m. It's the Jaguars and the Rams doing battle in London. It's going to be an exciting one too. Very informed teams this year, both battling for conference championship spots at the moment. This could be a game that could go either way, and either team that gets the win is going to be hugely beneficial out of it. Bears and Saints doing battle as the first Monday 3 a.m. early window games at Soldier Field. It's going to be a big battle. Bears and Saints probably haven't performed the way they would have liked to this season, but they're going to be all for it this week. Browns and Dolphins, two struggling teams in the early window at Hunting Bank Field. It's going to be interesting to see how these two manage to overcome a bit of adversity that they have definitely been facing this season, and we'll see whether one of them can kickstart their season. Vikings-Eagles, US Bank Stadium in the early window once again. It's going to be very interesting to see how they match up. Eagles, 2 losses in a row. Can they bounce back, or can the Vikings continue to surge on? Chiefs-Raiders, another divisional matchup at Arrowhead Stadium. This one, Chiefs have been on the roll recently. Raiders have been the opposite. So this is going to be one tough matchup for the Raiders. And will the Chiefs continue the momentum that they are currently on? Jets and Panthers, another early window matchup at MetLife. Both two teams that are struggling, and Jets still without a win. Can they beat the Panthers and get their first win of this year's campaign? Titans and Patriots, the last game of the early window at Nissan Stadium. Patriots are firing. Are they back? Drake May, will he be able to lead the Panthers like the former superstar Tom Brady once was able to do? Broncos-Giants, the first of the late window games at Empower Field. Broncos have been looking good this season. Giants, though, they've got a lot of confidence. 2 wins in a row. Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo, the duo that so many people are talking about. Can they get it done once again? Chargers and Colts at SoFi Stadium. Both teams have been playing really well this year. The Chargers, though, are in a bit of a slump. Can they bounce back and get a win against the Indianapolis Colts? Cardinals and Packers doing battle, State Farm Stadium. It's going to be an interesting one. Packers have looked good this year, but there is another level that they need to go to. Can they reach it in this one? Commanders and Cowboys, a divisional matchup. It's going to be a very interesting one, to say the least. The Commanders looking really good last week in primetime. 49ers struggling with injuries. Can they beat Falcons? Monday, 10:20 at Levi Stadium. It's going to be a huge anticipated game, and who could come out with this one? It could be going either way. Lions-Buccaneers, the first of the primetime games on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Lions-Buccaneers have been the peak of the NFC this year, particularly the Buccaneers. They look like they're on a roll, and that game at Ford Field is going to be one to watch. Seahawks-Texans rounded out on primetime at 12 p.m. Tuesday time for us here in Australia at Lumen Field in Seattle. Seahawks have looked good. They look like a lot better side this year, though you can really never rule out the Texans with CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryan as the coach. They will always give you just a bit of something. So a lot of games in Week 7 and a lot to be excited about. Coming up soon, we're going to have the interview that I have been talking a little bit on the socials about, so make sure that you don't miss that. It's not one that you're going to want to miss. But right now, you've got Hilltop Hoods with their hit, Cosby Sweater. That was Electric Free by MGMT. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 1:32 p.m. It is time for the weekly interview segment, and this week we'll be talking to a special guest. He is an up-and-coming Australian track star and is also studying right here at the University of Southern Queensland. Please welcome Jai Gordon to the show. Hi, Jai. How are you doing today?
Good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad myself. Well, we'll start off with the announcement of the new athletics facility that's going to be built at UniSQ. What are your thoughts on the announcement as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's massively exciting. Obviously, for myself, having a world-class facility in my hometown is, I guess, will go a long way to helping me step it up. But I think more importantly, I guess, for future generations, keeping our talent locally here in Toowoomba and the Darling Downs, and maybe even the wider region, is super exciting, and I'm keen to see what that produces.
Yeah. Well, you speak just then about the impact for the younger generations. Do you think this is going to be so significant for them? You know, for people in and around Toowoomba who are, you know, maybe want to try and give track and field a go and see what they can do with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the last, 5 or so years, we've seen a massive boom in things like our running clubs and that. So I guess in the non-competitive space, we'll continue to see growth there. And then, I guess people younger kids giving it a go and finding out they like it. I think, we'll see a big boom in talent coming out of the Darling Downs.
Do you have any ideas to what you think the new facility is going to look like when it's finished?
Yeah, I've got some ideas. I've been shown some plans, and they look really promising. And I'm super excited to, see the more detailed plans coming out at some point.
Yeah. What do you think the impact, not only for the young Toowoomba people, but also what do you think the impact's going to be for the for UniSQ to have a facility like that on campus?
Yeah, I think it's massive. I mean, I think, as a sport and exercise science student, I think that, that will provide, I guess, a bigger area to, I guess, do some of our testing and, just encourage people to get out and get active. I think it'll draw people from Brisbane and wider regions and maybe even internationally to our uni. So that'll be really good.
Yeah, would definitely be interesting to see a facility like that on a UniSQ campus. We'll switch it a little bit more to you and the Oceanic Cup that is coming up later this month. How is the training and preparation going for that?
Yeah, it's going really well. We've been making lots of changes, and I guess the Oceanic Cup will give us a nice little opportunity to see how those small changes hold up in a competition.
Is there any goals that you've kind of set for yourself going into this type of tournament?
To be honest, not massive ones. It's sort of in between seasons. The last season just ended. I guess our domestic, competitive season starts in about January. So it's kind of an odd time. Again, more so I think for me, just seeing how the changes and the training's going in the lead up to next season. But again, it's also another opportunity to wear the green and gold, which, you can never really turn that down.
Yeah, you speak just there about representing Australia. What is that kind of feeling, and what does it kind of mean to get to represent Australia at an event like this?
Yeah, it's special. I think it just really showcases, I guess, the work you've put in for many years, and not just my work. I have a massive team behind me, therapists, coaches, my training partners, my family, and all that. So I guess to represent them on an international stage is amazing, and then as well the local Toowoomba community. And this time this will be the first time I get to go away with another athlete from the local community, Connor Larson. So I'm excited to share that his debut with him, and go out there and represent our community well.
Yeah, that's definitely exciting to see more than just one of you from Toowoomba going over and representing. Well, what do you think is going to be the most thing you're looking forward to or most excited about, heading over to Tonga for the Oceanic Cup?
Oh, I think the most, exciting thing is just wearing the uniform and representing Australia. But second to that would be, getting to experience island life, I guess you can call it. I've never been to one of the countries out there, so that'll be exciting. And I'm keen to see what that's like.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on today, Jai. I hope your preparation continues to go well, and we can all see you do some amazing things over in the Oceanic Cup later this month.
Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, coming up soon is the Brisbane Roar season preview, but right now you've got Imagine Dragons with I Bet My Life. That was George Michael with Freedom. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 1:47 p.m. We are going to be talking about the Brisbane Lions. Not the Brisbane Lions. We're talking about the Brisbane Roar, and the A-League season is actually just around the corner, so it's a very much perfect time to start talking about the Brisbane Roar. So we'll take a quick look at some squad changes. So the ins for the Brisbane Roar this year, and they've gone really big in, which is really good to see, not only from the board, but from a coaching perspective as well. The playing roster definitely wasn't the best last year, so this is definitely going to be something that will be something that's really important for their season. So you've got Milroad, Stadic, you've got James McCarthy, you've got Hossein Bilton coming for 2 years, you've got Michael Rojas, you've got Dean Bazaris, Christopher Long, you've got Justin Vidic on a 2-year deal, you've got Dimitri Vakanakis on loan, you've got George Vacarakis, Jordan Luton, Matthew Dench, and Jostin Salos as well on loan. Have lost a few players though on the outs. You've got Jelicic on his end of loan now. You've got Florio Brengari. You've got Lewis Zabala, Adam Zamario, Corey Brown, Raphael Strick, Uzma Akbala, Jack Hingett, Wade Shrew, Matt Action, Lucas Harrington, and Pearson Kasawaya. A few re-signings as well that are coming back for another year. That's Antonio Burke Glore and Austin Ludwig. So some interesting changes to the squad, and hopefully that's going to be a huge beneficial for the Brisbane Roar coming up this year. And then on to the first 5 fixtures of the season. You've got this weekend, Friday the 17th of October, 8 p.m, Brisbane Roar versus Macarthur FC Bulls at Suncorp Stadium. Back home at Lang Park, also Suncorp Stadium. Round 2, they'll be heading down to Sky Stadium, Sunday 28th of October, 12 p.m. against the Phoenix. In round 3, at home again against Melbourne City on Friday the 31st of October, 6:35 p.m, once again at Suncorp. In round 4, the date time venue is to be confirmed, but it will be Brisbane Roar versus Newcastle Jets. Could be an away, could be a home game. We'll have to wait and see with that one. And for round 5, Sunday, 23rd of November, back down to New Zealand to play Auckland FC, the reigning stars that they've become, at Go Medium Stadium, 23rd of November, 12 p.m. kickoff. So a lot of action happening over the next couple of weeks for the Brisbane Roar. And to get a bit more of a perspective on how people are feeling about this year, Lachlan went down to talk to not only the president of the Supporters Federation, the new head coach, the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Vakanakis, but also the CFO of the Brisbane Roar. So let's take a listen to just that.
We are down here right now at Suncorp Stadium for the 2025-2026 Brisbane Roar season launch event. It wasn't a great last couple years for the Roar, but it has been a great preseason so far, getting some huge results along the way, and the general feel right now with the fans is pretty optimistic, all things considered. But as for the event itself here today, there's a lot going on. We got football games, there's football, ping pong. Get in there and play with your favorite Brisbane Roar players. Football on a five-a-side, big inflatable pitch. The Den is here with a booth selling their merch. The RSF is here gathering support for the upcoming season. And we're going to speak to the head coach of the Brisbane Roar Football Club, Michael Valkanis, as well as one of the men in charge of the entire club itself. Let's get stuck into it right now. For the last really decade, it's been pretty rough sailing around here, and it's really started to wear on the fans over the last couple of years. And we've been talking to a lot of people down here today, a lot of fans, and it's the first time in a recent memory where there's been a lot of hope coming into the season. And one of the people we caught up is a Brisbane Roar super fan. Richard Roar has been in the terraces since day one, recognizable by his big orange wig and the full kit he rocks. He is one of the longest-running fans of the club, and we caught up with him right now about the upcoming season.
Yeah, I think this season may be different. It feels different.
Now, it feels different, but I've kind of the question I want to ask is, this season obviously feels different. We're playing great football again. I was just talking with a couple people before about how we're playing with structure, we're pressing, and we're causing a lot of problems for teams. But after years and years and years of hope to just have it ripped away, how do you come into this season and not have do you have full confidence, or is it still in the back of your head of this is still the Backeries and this is still the Brisbane Roar?
Yeah, look, we can't help who the owners are and how much they put in into it. I'm assuming they have opened up their wallet a little bit more, just looking by a whole new 95% brand new lineup. To me, I think we've reached the bottom, but now we're about to go out the other side. So I'm really thinking we have got to the lowest point that we am. Last season, the coach last season, terrible. The playing roster, terrible. But this season, I think it's up and up. Like, that's how I feel. And I'm a long-time supporter. I've stood beside you many a games and had the quandary questions and analytic reports before and after games. I know, but I think this year's is a little bit different.
So to find out where this new belief was coming from, we headed straight to the man in charge of the team himself, newly appointed head coach Michael Valkanis.
I think my experience in Europe and a long time in coach now has taught me that the most important thing to fix is the environment, and people call it culture. I call it a vision that everyone's going to be part of, and that was critical that we get that right. And most of the times when you get that right, it's about people, isn't it? Yeah. So we have to bring in the right players, and I've spoken extensively about it. It's not only the profile of the type of football you want to bring in, but the people that have that sort of personality that are going to drive this culture, this vision, and are going to work really hard and have the passion. I'm big on 4 words: passion, attitude, team first, and hard work. And I believe that's the path to performance.
Later, we got to speak with Chief Operations Officer Zach Anderson, and he reiterated Coach Valkanis' need to create a new culture at the club as a baseline moving forward.
I think the first thing is that if anything that is worth achieving is going to be difficult, right? And I think that what we realised when we arrived here, that was a really distressed club that was really fractured in lots of different areas. And it's been a process, but I think that we're making moves in the right direction now. And I think that now it's about getting on-field performance. I think we're in a really strong position off the field. We definitely didn't start from zero 2 years ago, but we've cleared our issues with the ATO. We've cleared a lot of creditors that were hanging over our head, and now it's about building a really successful men's and women's team that can bring back the success that every fan wants here in Brisbane.
There's certainly plenty to be excited about this season for the Roar fans, and it all gets underway right here tomorrow night at Suncorp Stadium at 8:05 p.m. Eastern as the Brisbane Roar take on the MacArthur FC Bulls.
Well, thanks to Lachlan for getting a little bit of the scoop from not only the head coach, the CFO, the fans that are in it and amongst it. And yes, you can feel that the vibe is there this season. And is this the year that we see Brisbane Roar reach the level that we know that they can reach? It's going to be very exciting. You don't want to miss Friday night's game if you're getting out to it or watching it on the TV. It's going to be an unbelievable game to watch. You can definitely have a lot of belief, I think, in Brisbane Roar this year. And don't worry, we'll be talking about them more as the coming weeks go on, talking about each and every game that is taking place. We'll be doing that here on Jason's Sports Rundown. Coming up soon, we'll be talking about Bathurst, as mentioned really earlier in the show. We'll be reviewing the weekend at Bathurst, and was it the greatest race of Bathurst of all time? That's a question that we'll be answering up very soon. But right now, you've got Boyfriend by Ariana Grande and Social House. That was Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 2:02 p.m. on Thursday, the 16th of October. Now it's time to talk about everything Bathurst. Last weekend was the Bathurst 1000, arguably one of the greatest days in the sporting calendar here in Australia, and it's something that all us Aussies get behind. There is nothing better than on a Sunday morning, sitting back, watching the great race, and it brought us so much excitement this year. I think this has definitely been one of the better races that we've seen probably of all time. The conversation, posed it in the last talk break. Is this the greatest Bathurst? I mean, that's something to think about. What are you guys thinking at home? Is this the greatest Bathurst that we've ever seen? Is this the greatest Bathurst that we will ever see? There's a lot to be excited about the future ones, but we'll take a look at the session results. We'll go through each and every session from practice 1 all the way through to the race, and there's no less level of excitement than what we saw this weekend. So starting in practice number 1, it was Wood and Odasia in the first spot. It was Steve Squally and Jones in second, and Kai Allen in third spot. With the co-drivers in practice 2, it was Scott Pye in first place, David Russell in second, and Tony Adalberto in third. Back with both drivers in the car in practice 3, you had Feeney and Whincup number 1, Wood and Odasia in second, and Pye and Brown in third. The 888 cars were looking pretty good in practice 3. In practice 4, the main drivers going at it. It was Kostecki in third, Percat in second, and Chaz Mostert, the king, some might say, of the mountain. In at least the most recent times, he's been pretty good there and continues to be. That heads on into qualifying, which was before we saw the remaining 2 practice sessions. And in qualifying, your top 3 was Ryan Wood, Brock Feeney, and Brody Kostecki getting another provisional pole at Bathurst. He has been unstoppable in the Enduros and particularly at Mount Panorama itself. Heading into practice 5 and 6, which happened to be before the shootout. So in practice 5, you had the co-drivers in once again. So it was Scott Pye in first, Jamie Whincup in second, and Winterbottom in third. So 3 drivers you'd expect to be up towards the front in a co-driver level. Main drivers were back in the car with the co-drivers in practice 6, and Feeney and Whincup topped that practice session with Mostert and Coulthard in second. Waters and Winterbottom were in third place. The shootout results shaked up everything, and it showed a pretty strong Ford contingent at the front, which was definitely interesting to see with all the discussions around, the Camaro having slight advantages in particular areas. It was definitely interesting to see. But the shootout results, Percat in 10th, Steve Squally in 9th, Cam Hill in 8th, Thomas Randall in 7th, Cooper Murray in 6th. Brock Feeney dropping down to 5th place after qualifying 2nd in the qualifying session. Ryan Wood in 4th. Chaz Mostert in 3rd. Cam Waters in 2nd place. And Brody Kostecki converts provisional pole into pole for the great race, starting from the number 1 spot. Now we head to Sunday. We know the warm-up is there, and an interesting group of 3 that you have there. Golding and Russell in 3rd. You had Allen and Wood in 2nd, and then Pye and Brown in 1st place in that warm-up short session before the main race got underway. And the main race showed us everything. We had rain, which really brought in, I think, the Fords in a bit more. Straight line speed was in the favour of the Camaros, but take the rain in, that really changed that up pretty heavily and allowed a lot more of a chance, I think, for Ford, at least from what the conversations were across the race. You had a lot of brave strategy calls, when to be on the wet tyres, when to be on the dry was a thing that really changed up the orders. A number of safety cars, a lot of mistakes in the wet. It was tough, and that's where we saw a lot of things. We saw reliability issues. Chaz Mostert being one that faced that one. Unfortunate for him, but the running and finishing order for race number 27 and the Bathurst 1000, Percat and Slade were one of the pairs who were unable to finish the race, or at least not classified. Davidson and Alberto weren't able to finish. Neither did Mostert and Coulthard. Courtney and Perkins suffered the same. Evans and Smith, Stanaway and Morris all unable to be classified or finish the race. 21st place officially was Forward and Vaughan, and considering that car had the worst start to the race and managed to come back and fight towards the end, was pretty exciting to see. Di Pasquale and Jones in 20th. Very unfortunate for Wood and Odeja to finish 19th. Kostecki and Hazelwood in 18th. Also unfortunate. And Brown and Pye dropping down to 17th as well. Those three were really in for a good shot at many points during the race and weren't quite there. Jones and Boys in 16th. It was Crick and Seaton in the wildcard entry, doing pretty good for themselves, if you might say. LeBrock and Hughes in 14th. It was Gray and Dalton, another duo in the wild card in 13th. It was Winterbottom and Waters come back into 12th. Randall and Moffat fight to get into 11th. And the top 10 starts with Craig Lowndes in his last race for Triple Eight, with the youngster Bates doing very well there. Cameron and Bess, an unbelievable performance to get up to 9th. Allen and Wood had a great one in 8th. Heimgartner is experienced in the rain, and that showed him and Fraser getting up to 7th. A comeback drive from Brock Feeney after his massive mistake, him and Whincup finishing 6th. Cam Hill and McLeod coming in 5th, not a bad effort from them. Murray and Stewart, Murray was really strong in parts of the race, managed to just finish 4th in this one. Golding and Russell, they might have crossed the finish line first, but with their penalty forced them down 3rd place, but still a podium on Bathurst nonetheless. And then in 2nd place, David Reynolds has won that thing before, and he got into 2nd with his teammate Lee Holdsworth. And for race 27 and the Bathurst 1000, the winner for this year, 2025, it's Matt Payne, the Kiwi, and Garth Tander. Garth getting his 6th Bathurst win and number 1 for Matty Payne. What an unbelievable race to see. And to see that sort of shake-up, as you can see from the finishing order, just showed you how much excitement and how much we got into that race. Nothing less than unbelievable. Coming up soon, we're going to be shifting it motorsport-wise to F1, and we're going to be previewing the USA GP. But right now, you've got Morgan Wallen with Thinking About Me. That was SOS by Rihanna. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. You're listening to Phoenix Radio. This is Jason's Sports Rundown. The time is 2:18 p.m. and it's time to switch the focus to the F1 in terms of motorsport. We're going to be looking at the USA GP, which is this weekend, and it is in the home of the state of Texas in Austin at COTA, one of the more formidable tracks on the calendar, and it's one that is a track that quite a number of the drivers will be more than excited to race at. It's a fairly popular one for a number of drivers. So we'll take a look at the weekend schedule ahead in the Australian Eastern Standard Time. So for those not in Brisbane and in Queensland with our time zone, it will be slightly different an hour either way. So just keeping that one in mind. So practice 1 is on Saturday morning at 3:30 a.m. till 4:30 a.m. So we're being with the US times. It's kicking us off on the Saturday rather than the normal Friday evening that we normally get for us in Australia. So it is a sprint weekend as well. So for those unfamiliar with the sprint weekend format, we have practice number 1, and then we have sprint qualifying, which is a separate qualifying to see who's going to start where for the sprint race, which is the next day. So the sprint race and sprint qualifying take over what would be qualifying 2 and qualifying 3. So that meaning that practice 1 is that much more important, meaning that teams really have to conduct everything in that first practice session, and a lot falls on the drivers. So that's, again, where we don't see any rookie sessions take up during sprint weekends, because it's just not feasible to have anyone sit out for this practice session, so they'll be all in the cars for that one. Sprint qualifying is at Saturday morning. It's at 7:30 a.m. and it'll be going until 8:14 a.m. So if you're up early on your Saturday, you can get some sprint qualifying action. The sprint race is on Sunday. It's at 3 a.m. start time, and it'll be going for half an hour until 3:30 a.m. in the morning. And if you're somehow still up and raring to go, qualifying will be getting underway at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, and it'll be going until 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. Then we take ahead to the race, which will be getting underway Monday for us here in Australia, and it will be a 5 a.m. Start for us here in Queensland. It'll be 6 a.m. for those in New South Wales, in Victoria, and 5:30 for those in Adelaide. So it's going to be a pretty early one morning for some of us watching the race on Monday morning. But for those who was consistently watching the NFL every week, I'm sure, like me, you'll be up and raring to go, as you always are at 4 a.m. In the morning. Definitely some interesting stuff that you can get there nonetheless. It's going to be pretty exciting to see how the form of George Russell continues. And big news coming out just recently too is George Russell and Kimi Antonelli confirmed to be driving for Mercedes next year in 2026. And it is also believed that George Russell's is a multi-year deal, which is what was the main point that was being a bit of an issue for the two sides to be working out. So a multi-year deal for George Russell, considering his form, has been pretty good. There's been some questions around posing as well. Is George Russell the second best driver on the grid? That's another big question for you there at home to kind of ponder on. The McLaren securing the team championship as well last weekend, really interesting to see. You know, we thought maybe it happened in Baku at the earliest point it would. Took a race later in Singapore to do it, but after some of the worrying signs, I guess, that you saw from the battling of McLaren, this is going to be very interesting to see how they go from the rest of the season. Do they let them battle? What happens? Because ultimately, they've already won the team championship. You know, the team has done everything they can. It's now really on the Drivers' Championship, and no doubt that is going to go all the way down to Abu Dhabi. I cannot see really many ways that it isn't decided, that it would be decided earlier. Just even now, it would take a very dominant display from Oscar Piastri to win 2 or 3 races in a row in the next few weeks to be able to secure it early. Sprint race weekend also means that there's more points up for grabs. So for the likes of Lando, this is a very important weekend that he could very much even overtake Oscar in the championship standings this week if he does well enough. But yeah, nonetheless, it's going to be an exciting weekend. And I think these last 6 races, kind of buckle up, get ready, because this season is only really just kind of feeling like it's not just getting started, but we're just getting into what is going to be the most exciting part of the year. And to see the fight that will Oscar Piastri has on his hands, can he become the next Australian world champion? That would be unbelievable scenes for us to all witness. We know, the love that Australians have for their motorsport, and even in F1, we've been lucky enough to have a number of really exciting Australian drivers, the Mark Webbers, the Alan Jones, the Danny Ricks, and Oscar Piastri could be just another one onto that list. And if he can win a world championship, with McLaren, he's going to be one of very few Australians that have ever been able to do that. So the Drivers' Championship, wide open, and we'll see. At the moment, there's still technically 6 drivers in it, but you can really say at the moment it's a 2+ max race for that Drivers' Championship. Coming up soon, we're going to get our love for music in, and we're going to be taking a look at the ARIA charts. We're going to be taking a look at the top 5 singles and albums currently, and with the recent released album, I'm sure you can maybe guess a little bit to what we might be seeing in those charts. But right now, you've got The Weeknd with Die For You. That was Empire of the Sun with Walking on the Dream. You're listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 2:30 p.m. And we're going to be shifting the focus away from our lovely little sport to keep you up to date with a little bit of music. We're going to take a look at the ARIA charts, the ARIA charts being the Australian music charts. So we're going to be taking a look at what are the top 5 albums that us Aussies are listening to at the moment, and what are the top 5 singles that you guys have been listening to. I did say before the break that we've had a recent album come out, would be a bit over a week and a half now, by the one and only Taylor Swift. So I think I'll give you that as a little bit of a hint to maybe what some of the better singles, the top 5 singles and top 5 albums might include. We'll take a look at the albums first. So number 5 on the list is by Rions, and it's Everything Every Single Day. It's peaking at number 5, and it's his first week in the ARIA charts. In number 4, it's been in the charts for 6 weeks. It's been at number 1, and this week is in number 4. It's Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter. For the number 3 spot, 2 weeks in the ARIA charts, it's been previously peaking at number 1, and it also sat at the number 1 spot last week, but it has been dethroned. That's Olivia Dean with The Art of Loving. 16 weeks in the chart, it's been as high as number 1, and it's staying at 2 once again. That is K-pop Demon Hunters Soundtrack. And its first week in the ARIA charts, and it goes straight to number 1. I'm sure all of you at home are screaming to what you think it is, and no doubt it's The Life of the Showgirl by Taylor Swift. Another number 1 album for her once again. It feels like she is just going out there and showing us just how good she is. We'll be moving on to the top 5 singles, and we'll be once again giving you all the information about them, but we'll also give you a little bit of a preview into these songs if maybe it's the first time you've ever heard these ones. So at number 5, first week in the charts, it's peaking at number 5, and it's Wood by Taylor Swift. Now on to number 4. It's first week in the charts, straight to number 4. It's highest peak it's been now. First week in the charts though. This one is by Taylor Swift once again. It's Father Figure. Now on to number 3, keeping with the theme. It's its first week in the charts, straight to number 3. And this one is also by Taylor Swift. It's Elizabeth Taylor. Now on to number 2, first week in the charts. It's peaking at number 2, and it is running with the continual theme that we seem to be having. This one's by Taylor Swift, and it's Opalite. And now on to the number 1 song on the ARIA charts, week number 1 in the charts for it, and it goes straight to number 1. It continues and ends our theme. 5 songs in the top 5 this week. It's by Taylor Swift, and it's The Fate of Opalite. So Taylor Swift dominates the charts on this week for the ARIA charts. 5 singles for her, the top 5 in the charts. She has the number 1 album. We'll have to see whether that's something that continues over the coming weeks, but she has had one of the better weeks any artist could have in the ARIA charts. Coming up soon, the final topic for the show today is the Premier League match week review, and we'll be reviewing match week number 7. But right now, you've got Pink with a bit of a fire-up one for us. It's So What? That was LB Shane with Forgotten Man. You are listening to phoenixradio.com.au. This is Jason's Sports Rundown, and the time is 2:44 p.m. And it is time for the final topic, talking about the Premier League once again, our match week review. And we're reviewing match week number 7, which is actually from a few weeks ago, from last week, but we've had the international break, so still keeping you up to date with that, as I wasn't on air last Thursday down on the Sunshine Coast. For the results for match week 7, you got Bournemouth 3-1 over Fulham, Spurs 2-1 over Leeds, Arsenal 2-0 over West Ham, Man United 2-0 over Sunderland, Chelsea beat Liverpool 2-1, Aston Villa 2-1 over Burnley, Everton 2-1 over Crystal Palace, Newcastle 2-0, Nottingham Forest, Wolves 1-1 over Brighton, Man City 1-0 over Brentford. And the current table for the Premier League, Arsenal to number 1, 16 points, Liverpool on 15 points in second, Spurs and Bournemouth 14 points each, with Spurs in third, Bournemouth in fourth. Man City up into the top 6 in 5th place with 13 points. Crystal Palace holding on to 6th place with 12 points. Chelsea in 7th with 11. Everton in 8th with 11. And Sunderland in 9th with 11 points. Man U on 10 points in 10th place. Newcastle are on 9 points in 11th. Brighton 9 points in 12th. Aston Villa 9 points in 13th place. Fulham are in 14th with 8 points, and Leeds are in 15th with 8 points. Brentford 7 points in 16th. Nottingham Forest 5 points in 17th in the bottom 3. Burnley on 4 points in 18th. West Ham on 4 points in 19th. And Wolves now double their tally to 2 points, and they're still in 20th place. So a lot of movement, but the big one being Arsenal are at the top of the ladder for the first time this year. And is that going to be something that Liverpool continue on, or are Liverpool going to be back, ready, and fighting once again? Coming up soon, I'll be concluding the show for you guys, but right now you've got Stay Solid Rocky with Party Girl. That was Coldplay with A Sky Full of Stars. What a nice one to get us into, and ready to conclude the show for today. Thank you guys for joining me today and this afternoon. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's show. We had so much new stuff to talk about, news. We had the music, we had the weather, and I really hope you guys enjoyed the interview as well with Jai Gordon, the UniSQ, an Australian up-and-coming track star. And if you have missed any part of this show, feel free to catch the podcast, which will be on later on Jason Sports Rundown on the YouTube. You can check out a full version of the podcast. You'll see different segments like the interview, Bathurst, etc. in their own versions as well. And check out the socials, Jason Sports Rundown, Instagram and TikTok for more content that will be coming today and tomorrow, and staying tuned with all the updates for the show. And once again, thank you guys for joining me, and I cannot wait to see you guys again next week here on Phoenix Radio, Thursday, 1 to 3 p.m, like we always do. But for now, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and enjoy into your weekend, and go the Brisbane Roar on this Friday. Let's see if they can beat MacArthur FC. Song taking you guys out today is Lizzo with To Be Loved.